נניע לצור אישנו, נקדם על פניו בתודה, בזמירות נריע לו. מזמור שיר ליום השבת, מזמור שיר ליום השבת. שימחני אדוני בפועלך, במעשה ידיך ארנן. הגדלו מעשיך אדוני מאוד עמדו, מחשבותיך מזמור שיר. ורסתיך לי לעולם, ורסתיך לי במשפט ובצדק ובחסד וברחמים וברצון.
ורסתיך לי לעולם, ורסתיך לי במשפט ובצדק ובחסד וברחמים וברצון.
ורסתיך לי באמונה, וידעת את אדוני. ורסתיך לי באמונה, וידעת את אדוני.
יחד נדע
כן נדע,
את אדוני.
כן נדע, יחד נדע את אדוני. ורסתיך לי באמונה, וידעת את אדוני. ורסתיך לי באמונה, יחד נדע את אדוני. יחד נדע את אדוני. יחד נדע את אדוני. Nay na 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 nay 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 na nay nay na 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 nay nay. Nay na 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 nay 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 na nay nay na 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 nay nay. Nay na 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 nay 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 na nay nay na 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 nay nay. Nay na 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 nay 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 na nay nay na 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 nay nay. Adon olam asher malach, בטרם כל יציר נברא, יציר נברא. נעשה בחפצו כל, אזי מלך שמו נקרא, אזי מלך שמו נקרא. ואחרי יקרות הכל, לבדו ימלוך נורא, והוא היה והוא עובד, והוא יהיה בתפארה, והוא אחד ואין שני, להמשילו לאפירה, בלי ראשית בלי תחתית, ולא ההוד והמזרח. אדון עולם אשר מלך, בטרם כל יציר נברא, יציר נברא. נעשה בחפצו כל, אזי מלך שמו נקרא, אזי מלך שמו נקרא. והוא אלי וחי גואלי, בצור חלי ועת צרה. supreme fire. Guide us on our journey and let us hear your call. Grant us the strength and hope to carry on. Keep us free and safe. Give shelter to our souls. God will always be with me. I shall not fear at all. Adon olam, asher emalach, b'terem kol yetzir nivra, yetzir nivra, le'et nasa, בחפצו כל, אזי מלך שמו נקרא, Kiva Moed, Kiva Moed, Kiva Moed, Kiva Moed, Kiva Moed, Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom. Oh, a sweet sound of people responding. And in a sea of pink, it is nice to welcome so many people in the sanctuary. Nice to welcome those who are joining us from near and far. Tonight we are observing Pink Shabbat, and not because real men wear pink, but because we are recognizing the prevalence of breast and other cancers in our community. And as we have in years past, we are partnering with Sharsheret, a national non-profit organization, not-for-profit organization that improves the lives of Jewish women and families living with or at risk for breast and ovarian cancer through the personalized support that they give and through the life-saving work that they do by reaching out and educating our community. It is indeed a special Shabbat because maybe over the last 18 months I have worn a tie. Take out the High Holy Days once, twice, but this is my Sharsheret tie, and so I'm really happy and really pleased to be wearing it. Don't worry, tomorrow morning I'll be back to my usual. Why are we doing this? Why is it so important that we observe a pink Shabbat, a Shabbat that acknowledges breast and ovarian and other cancers? I'm going to give you three reasons. The first reason is because of Shmirat Haguf. Caring for our bodies and our overall health is considered a mitzvah. We have a responsibility to be educated, particularly about diseases that affect the Jewish community at a higher rate than the general population. Two, because we call ourselves a caring community. And this is one way that we remind ourselves that we need to take care of those of our community who are dealing with challenges, whether that is through an offer to prepare meals or to tend to children or help with shopping and housekeeping. And then finally, three, asking for help or accepting assistance can often be difficult for a Jewish woman or their family facing cancer. And talking about this, acknowledging it, takes away the stigma. So tonight we commemorate Pink Shabbat and how good it is, how wonderful it is that we are together. Hine matov umanayim shevet achim gam yachad. And you're going to just have to stick with me because for some reason the iPad that controls everything just shut off and it's rebooting itself. So you'll hear Cantor singing and just pretend as if it's me.
Really? Why did it stop?
I don't know.
I hope it comes back because
I'm hoping it's coming back soon.
הנה מה טוב ומנעים, שבת אחים גם יחד. הנה מה טוב ומנעים, שבת אחים גם יחד. הנה מה טוב, שבת אחים גם יחד. הנה שבת אחים גם יחד. הנה מה טוב ומה נעים, שבת אחים גם יחד. הנה מה טוב ובנעים, שבת אחים גם יחד. הנה מה טוב, שבת אחים גם יחד. הנה מה טוב, שבת אחים גם יחד. You try this time, you sing it. הנה מה טוב ובנעים, שבת אחים גם יחד. פם פם פם.
הנה מה טוב ובנעים, שבת אחים גם יחד.
הנה מה טוב, שבת אחים גם יחד. הנה מה טוב, שבת אחים גם יחד.
The iPad decided to update right before Shabbat. No disrespect to anyone who's outside of our community and therefore not able to join us. But this is a great reason why you should come back into the synagogue. You don't have to deal with all this. We're going to begin our service, page 124. A reading for Kabbalat Shabbat. May the door of this synagogue be wide enough to receive all who hunger for love, all who are lonely for friendship. May it welcome all who have cares to unburden, thanks to express, hopes to nurture. May the door of this synagogue be narrow enough to shut out pettiness and pride, envy and enmity. May its threshold be no stumbling block to young or straying feet. May it be too high to admit complacency, selfishness, and harshness. May this synagogue be, for all who enter, the doorway to a richer and more meaningful life. Page 130, L'chuna ranana l'Adonai. Come, let us sing joyously to Adonai.
Lechunerandena, lechunerandena, lechunerandena l'Adonai. Lechunerandena, lechunerandena, lechunerandena l'Adonai. Naria, naria, letzuri sheinu, lekama fana betoda. Naria, naria, letzuri sheinu, pizmira naria lo. Lechunerandena, lechunerandena, lechunerandena l'Adonai. Lechunerandena, lechunerandena, lechunerandena l'Adonai. Bottom of page 131. Try, open the... Yismechu Hashamayim, Yismechu Hashamayim, Yismechu Hashamayim, Betagel haaretz. Yismechu Hashamayim,
ישמחו השמיים, ישמחו השמיים,
ישמחו השמיים, betagel haaretz. Yiram hayam, yiram hayam, yiram hayam, umlo. Yiram hayam, yiram hayam, yiram hayam, umlo. יעלו שדי בכל אשר פה, אז ירננו כל הצייר. לפני אדוני קיווה קיווה לשפוט הארץ. ישפוט תבל וצדק ואבין ואמונתו.
Adonai oz le'amo yitain, Adonai yavarech et amo v'shalom. Adonai, sovereign of time, bestow strength upon our people. Bless our people with shalom, with peace.
Adonai oz le'amo ייתן אדוני יברך את עמו. אדוני עוז לעמו ייתן אדוני יברך את עמו.
Sage Cantor, one of presidents of our congregation, to light our Shabbat candles. Yes, we are going to do Lechadoti.
Lechadoti likrat kala penei Shabbat nekavela lechadoti likrat kala penei Shabbat nekavela lechadoti likrat kala penei Shabbat nekavela.
Shamur v'zachor v'diborecha hishmi'anu el hameyuchad Adonai echad u'shemo echad Hashem u'letiferet le'ritchila le'chadori likrat kala penei Shabbat nekavela lechadori likrat kala penei Shabbat nekavela likrat Shabbat lechu v'nelcha gihim bekor haberach merosh mihikedem esucha sof ma'aseh v'machshavat tfila lechadori likrat kala penei Shabbat nekavela lechadori likrat kala penei Shabbat nekavela. Hitoreri kiva orech gumi uri shir daberi kivod Adonai alayich nigla lechadori
Kabbalat, Bnei Shabbat, Kabbalat, Lechandori, Kabbalat, Bnei Shabbat, Kabbalat.
We rise, we turn to the door, we welcome the Shabbat bride.
Boi Beshalom, Ha'ateret Ba'ala, Gam Be'simcha, U'betzola, Toch Emunei, Am Segula, Boi Chala.
Happens at my house too. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam.
Asher Kedishanu.
You jinxed it. Asher Kedishanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu l'hadlik ner shel Shabbat.
Amen.
Amen.
We rise for Baruch Hu.
Am I awake? Am I prepared? Are you listening to my prayer? Can you hear my voice? Can you understand? Am I awake? Am I prepared? Yalla la la la, yalla la la la, yalla la la la. Yalla la la la, yalla la la la, yalla la la la, yalla la. Baruch Hu et Adonai HaMevorach.
Baruch Adonai HaMevorach.
Am I awake? Am I prepared? Are you listening to my prayer? Can you hear my voice? Can you understand? Am I awake? Am I prepared?
Page 148. Blessed are you, Adonai, our God, ruler of the universe, who speaks the evening into being, skillfully opens the gates, thoughtfully alters the time and changes the seasons, and arranges the stars in their heavenly courses according to plan. You are creator of day and night, rolling light away from darkness and darkness from light, transforming day into night and distinguishing one from the other. Adonai Tsevaot is your name. For living God, may you reign continually over us into eternity. Blessed are you, Adonai, who brings on evening
Baruch atah Adonai Hamarim Harabim.
Everlasting love, you offered your people Israel by teaching us Torah and mitzvot, laws and precepts. Therefore, Adonai, our God, when we lie down and when we rise up, we will meditate on your laws and your commandments. We will rejoice in your Torah forever. Day and night we will reflect on them, for they are life, and doing them lengthens our days. Never remove your love from us. Praise to you, Adonai, who loves your people Israel.
Baruch atah Adonai Ohev Amo Yisrael. Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad. Baruch Shem Kevod Malchuto Leolam Ba'ed.
ואהבת את אדוני אלוהיך בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודך, והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבביך, ושיננתם לבניך, ודיברת בם, בשבתך בביתך, ובלכתך בדרך, ובשוכבך ובקומך, וקשרתם לאות על ידיך, והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך, וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך, למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותי, והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים, להיות לכם לאלוהים. אני אדוני אלוהיכם.
Adonai Elohechem emet.
Page 157. Standing on the parted shores of history, we still believe what we were taught before we ever stood at Sinai's foot, that wherever we go, it is eternally Egypt, that there is a better place, a promised land, that the winding way to that promise passes through the wilderness, that there is no way to get from here to there except by joining hands, marching together.
Mi chamocha ba'elim Adonai, mi kamocha le'edam hakodesh.
Mi kamocha ba'elim Adonai, mi kamocha le'edam hakodesh. Nora tehilo, Osef ele. Nora tehilo, Osef ele.
פדל את יעקב, וגרם חזק ממנו. ברוך אתה אדוני, גאל ישראל. אלוהינו לשלום והעמידנו אדוני שומרנו לחיים ופרוס עלינו סוכת שלומך ותקננו עצה טובה מלפניך השכיבנו אדוני אלוהינו לשלום והעמידנו אדוני שומרנו לחיים watch over us in times of distress and fear shield us and shelter us in the shadow of your wings safeguard our going out safeguard our coming in to life renewed and to peace evermore השכיבנו אדוני אלוהינו לשלום והעמידנו אדוני שומרנו לחיים Life is precious Life is one
Prayer that Norman just chanted his own melody. Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu Leshalom V'hamidenu Adonai Shomreinu Lechaim. Grant, O God, that we lie down in peace and raise us up, O Sovereign, to life renewed. It's an evening prayer. It's a prayer that asks God to tuck us into bed and to watch over us, and then in the morning wake us up and feel refreshed and renewed. We know that that isn't always the case, that there are days and there are years and there are lives who go to sleep and wake up in pain, and that pain continues because of the illness that they are dealing with. And whether that's physical pain or emotional pain, it remains. And then we know that there are individuals who lie down to sleep and never wake up, who go to life eternal. Tonight, we wanted to put a face on breast cancer. We wanted to, of course, as I said before, destigmatize, to humanize the reality that cancer is in our community. And so we have invited our partner, Judy Blinderman, to share her very personal story with us. Judy has been a part of the Temple Sinai family for 17 years. She and her husband Craig are both attorneys, and 2 of their 3 children, Haley and Aiden, got their start in our ECE. We're lucky that we get, don't tell Haley or Aiden, but we get the best of the 3. Jared, their oldest, he's with us tonight, and really, it's such an honor and such a pleasure to welcome my dear friend Judy, who's not only super smart but wickedly funny. So no pressure. But if anybody could tell her personal story about cancer and to do it with a smile, Judy is the one. Am I allowed to tell them what you said before services?
I mean, I was going to open with that.
Okay, no, then I'm going to let you. She said, no, really. So you're going to make me say the word boobs come on up, Judy. Come. You can absolutely say it now that you made me say boobs in the middle of services.
You know, I wasn't going to throw you under the bus.
No, you weren't,
Well,
but
now
now you have to.
I'm Judy Blinderman, and I am what it took me a very long time to actually come to terms with, because I feel like a blessed person, a breast cancer survivor. And I'm thrilled to be up here tonight talking about my boobs. And that's exactly what I said to Alan when he said, "I'm so happy you're here." I said, "You're just happy I'm here to talk about my boobs." So, my breast cancer story. I think that I always thought that I would have been the least likely person, Thank you. The least likely person to have breast cancer. No breast cancer in my family. I'm a Sephardic Jew, and we know that breast cancer is more prevalent, or we thought was more prevalent among the Ashkenazi Jews. I blew off a lot of mammograms, maybe skip one, went every 2 years. And in June or July of 2014, I also blew off my mammogram and ended up having it a few months late. And I had my mammogram and my ultrasound. I always went with my very good friend. Her name is Sherilyn Otzer. Some of you might know her. And I was sitting in the waiting room waiting for her to call me in and do what we always did, say, "Oh, your boobs are fine," and then talk about the kids or what we were doing or make plans to go out. And I already had my little Facebook status ready. The boobies are okay, everybody check their boobies, except that was not to be that day. My friend called me in and said, "We found something, and we need to do a biopsy." So we proceeded to do the biopsy. And I was still like, yeah, how the heck am I going to have breast cancer? My friend, who was a very good friend, sat on my results through the entirety of the 4th of July weekend because she didn't want to ruin my weekend, calls me on that Monday after 4th of July and says, "I have to tell you something, you have breast cancer." But the first thing she said to me is, "You're not going to die," which is the reason why I feel blessed and why it was so hard for me for many years to call myself a breast cancer survivor, because I was very, very, very lucky. My breast cancer was discovered so early that I had something called DCIS, which is ductal carcinoma in situ, which means it hadn't left my milk duct yet. So I saw the doctor, and the doctor wanted to do a lumpectomy. He wanted to do radiation, and he wanted to put me on something called tamoxifen. So my story is also a story of choice, because I didn't want to do any of that. I didn't want to worry about having breast cancer. I didn't want to go on a medication that was at 44 going to put me into premature menopause. And anecdotally, I had talked to a lot of women on tamoxifen who had memory problems, and my mom had Alzheimer's, so I didn't want to get Alzheimer's. So against my doctor's advice, I opted to have a double mastectomy. And I just said, get rid of them. I don't want to worry about them anymore. And my doctor was very upset with me. And before I had the surgery, I did genetic testing, which would have been the protocol. And as the doctor was wheeling me in to have surgery, he said to me, "I feel a lot better now about you having your surgery." I said, "Why?" He's like, "Because you actually have something called PALB2, which is also a gene that is not as commonly known, but it also is contributive to breast cancer. So I was very lucky. I did not have to have radiation. I did not have to have chemotherapy. It was a gamble because if they found something more, I might have had to. I went through a lot of surgeries, but it took me a very long time to consider myself a survivor because I never felt like I had gone through what other people went through. But because of my diagnosis of breast cancer and because of having the PALB2 gene, a lot of my cousins started getting genetic testing because they're like, well, what if we have it too? And as it turns out, little did we know, there is a BRCA mutation that comes from Sephardic Jews. And one of my cousins went and she was BRCA positive. And another cousin went and she was BRCA positive. And I ended up with about 4 BRCA positive cousins. But specifically one of them, who is a rabbi's wife, went to get a 3D mammogram, I believe it was, when she was getting ready to have her mastectomy, because she was going to have a prophylactic mastectomy. She had stage 3 breast cancer. And had it not been because I developed breast cancer and I had this gene and everybody decided to get tested, she would have never known. And she might not be here with us today. And I am very happy to say that she is way past the 5 years and she's healthy and she's doing amazing. She's actually very involved in Sharsheret too, when she lived in Washington. And I believe she's still involved in Sharsheret. And so I think it's a story of early detection. Don't blow off your mammograms. No matter how old you are, you can always get breast cancer. So as long as you have boobs that are yours, and I wasn't born with these, but you know, my doctor did a great job. Am I being funny yet?
You are.
Okay, thank you. I don't want to disappoint you. So, you know, early detection, super important. But also choice, because my doctor didn't really want to give me a choice. My doctor really wanted me to, you know, have this treatment that he said I should have and I was going to be okay. And I fought him because it wasn't what was right for me. And so always do what is right for you when it comes to a diagnosis like this. And I think that's all I have to say.
I think if I can tag on to what Judy said, the fact that so many of her relatives were able to acknowledge this and to be tested and to be treated is a reminder of the power of community. That the Jewish community is a small community. We're connected. There's a reason why that the genetics are with us or against us, depending on how you look at it. And so if we think about us all being as one community, you heard from one of your sisters, one of our family, and that's a response that we should all take to heart and remind ourselves that we are connected and therefore need to care for ourselves. We are going to continue with an acknowledgement that there are others in our community who are ill. We want to acknowledge them, and then we're going to invite all who are breast cancer survivors, all who are going through breast cancer perhaps now, all who have been caregivers for loved ones and friends. We'll invite all of you to stand. I'm going to share a special blessing with all of you. But on this Shabbat, we're thinking about those in our community, those in our own families who are in need of God's blessing. Pat Barron, Ronnie Buckman, Etta Rachel Bat Malcha Zissel, Linda Falcon, Sandy Jo Gordon, Ed Johns, Mindy Elizabeth Jones, Susan Linsenbaum, Leah Bat Marguerite, Leah Tova Bar, Shammai Ben Michael, Ilka Rock, Shaul Ben Moshe Verivka, Mark Rockfeld, Mark Byron Singer, Rachel Bat Renee, Velvo Chaim Ben Yechezkiel, Kevin Webb, Yehudit Bat Rachel Avayankel. So we're going to invite those of you who have experienced breast cancer, those of you who have supported those, and before Cantor Norman sings Misha Berach, a special blessing for all of you. I invite you to rise if you have been affected by breast cancer or other cancers. May the one who blessed our ancestors be present with those who are ill. 1 second, sorry. Yeah. It's just not behaving today. There we go. May the one who blessed our ancestors be present to those who are ill and troubled among us, as well as those who provide care for them. May they be filled with fortitude and courage, endowed with sympathy and compassion as they receive and give strength. May they fight against despair and continue to find within themselves the will to reach out in their need and to those in need. And in their love of others, may they know the blessing of health, community, and renewed faith. As together we say, Amen.
Shebeirach Avotenu Mekor HaBracha Leimotenu. May the source of strength who blessed the ones before us help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say Amen. Yishebeirach imotenu Mekor HaBracha Le'avotenu. Let those in need of healing with refuah shleima, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say Amen.
We acknowledge the beauty and the joy and the peace of Shabbat. V'shamru v'nei Yisrael et Shabbat. The people of Israel shall keep Shabbat. Page 162.
V'shamru v'nei Yisrael et HaShabbat, et HaShabbat. השבת אדור אותה ברית עולם ברית עולם ביני ובין בני ישראל הודיעתי לעולם ביני ובין בני ישראל אותי לעולם כי ששת ימים עשה אדוני את השמיים ואת הארץ וביום אשר יהי שבת ויהי נפש.
We take a moment for silent personal prayer.
May the words of my mouth and the meditation of my heart be acceptable to you, Adonai, my rock and my redeemer. יהיו לרצון עם ברפי וגיון ליבי יהיו לרצון עם ברפי וגיון ליבי לפניך May the word of my mouth and the prayer of my heart be acceptable to you. Let us so אמרפי וגיון ליבי בפניך
and my Redeemer, my rock and my Redeemer, Shuri ve'goali. My rock and my Redeemer, my rock and my Redeemer, my rock and my Redeemer, yeah, Adonai. My rock and my Redeemer, my rock and my Redeemer, my rock and my Shuri ve'goali, Adonai. My rock and my Redeemer, Adonai. My rock and my Redeemer, my rock and my Redeemer, Shuri ve'goali. You let it so. אמרפי וגיון ליבי לפניך
I said that we wanted to humanize the experience of breast cancer and other cancers that affect our community. And you heard from Judy her own personal experience as a breast cancer survivor. And now it's really my pleasure to invite, I'll say, the other side of or one of the parts of the other side of the equation, those who give support to those who are affected by this. Brianna Schwartz is the Florida Regional Director for Sharsheret. Since the opening of the Florida office in June of 2013, a little soon after that, Brianna came and met, and she is no stranger, has been no stranger to our Bima, as we have welcomed her on several other occasions to be our speaker, to moderate programs for us. Brianna is a native Floridian, a graduate of the University of Florida, go Gators, oversees all of Sharsheret's statewide programmatic efforts and coordinates the collaborations with local Jewish cancer and college campus organizations. Brianna grew up at Beit Shirah, now lives in Hollywood with her husband Grant, who we're glad to have. Sorry we couldn't extend services so that you guys could have a little longer night away from their three daughters, Carly, Sydney, and Tori. But unless you speak longer, Brianna, you're pretty much going to have to go home after this. It's my pleasure to welcome Brianna Schwartz to our Bima. You can take your mask off.
Thank you. Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.
Judy, thank you so much for sharing your story. I appreciate how you spoke so beautifully about such a personal moment in your life. So thank you so much for sharing that with us tonight. Thank you, Rabbi Litwack, for always inviting me to come speak. I know you all get to work with Rabbi Litwack often, but on a daily basis, I get to work with Deborah Litwack, who is, I say all the time, I'm left-handed, and she's my left hand at Sharsheret. So thank you. She's a fantastic colleague, and just a pleasure to be at the synagogue tonight. So Again, I'm Brianna Schwartz. I'm the Florida Regional Director for Sharsheret. So thank you for having me year after year and for doing Pink Shabbat and raising awareness about breast cancer and education, making this a priority for your congregation. So in this week's Torah portion, we hear the story of Noah and the flood. We know that Noah built an ark, loaded his family and the animals up, and watched as the world was engulfed by water. But what did the lessons of Noah have to do with breast cancer and a Pink Shabbat? Once the waters receded, the dove returned with the olive branch, and Noah's sandals were firmly planted on dry land, God produced a rainbow. God promises Noah that he will never destroy life again, and says, "This is the sign of the covenant I have established between me and all life on the earth." A beautiful idea, that if it starts to rain, we don't have to panic that another flood is coming, because God has vowed not to destroy life by water ever again. The rainbow is the symbol of that agreement. Throughout October, we see pink ribbons and banners everywhere we go, seemingly cheerful reminders that we are all doing our part to raise awareness about breast cancer. But just as we don't need a physical rainbow to be reminded of our relationship with God, we also don't need to see pink ribbons in order to know that breast cancer significantly affects the Jewish community. 1 in 8 women will be diagnosed with breast cancer in her lifetime, and 1 in 1,000 men. Jewish families, as Judy mentioned, are at even higher risk for the disease because of specific genetic mutations that are more common among Ashkenazi Jews. We've all heard of the BRCA gene, or BRCA gene. A mutation in the BRCA gene increases the risk of developing breast cancer by 80%. It's also linked to other cancers such as ovarian, prostate, colon, pancreatic, melanoma, and male breast cancer. This mutation affects 1 in 500 people in the general population, but in the Ashkenazi Jewish population, 1 in 40 of us, both men and women, are carriers, and that makes our community far more susceptible to hereditary breast cancer. By now, BRCA is a pretty widely known gene mutation, but as Judy said, it's not the only one. CHEK2, PAL-B, ATM are other genes known for their heightened cancer risks. And while only 10 to 15% of breast cancers are hereditary, it is critical that we learn both our maternal and paternal health histories and discuss the information with your doctor or genetic counselor to assess your personal cancer risk. In the Parsha, we learn that after the flood, the world as Noah knew it was changed. He needed to learn to live in the new normal, a phrase I hear thrown around a lot these days. For Noah, the new normal was a world he had to repopulate. For some of us, the new normal is wearing a mask, or that awkward pause we do before hugging our friends we haven't seen in the last 18 months. For breast cancer survivors, adjusting to the new normal after a diagnosis is unique for each woman. It can be physical, emotional, or spiritual change, and most survivors need to heal from more than one of these categories. It's also important to mention that not only is the patient experiencing these changes, but their spouse, children, friends, and caregivers are also impacted by cancer and need time to heal from their personal trauma. With breast cancer, physical healing begins by following the recommendations of one's medical team. In addition to treatment and surgeries, survivors will likely need lots of rest and time to regain comfort within their bodies. Emotional healing for those impacted by cancer often involves a wide range of feelings. Some facing cancer find themselves in spiritual crisis, while others say that religious belief can be a source of comfort during trying experiences. The bottom line is that healing is not linear, and we all need to acclimate in our own way and time. There's one other message from Noah that bears mentioning tonight. God instructed Noah to bring 2 members of each species onto the ark. Not 1, but 2, a pair. A reminder that no one is supposed to weather the storm alone. We are meant to have a partner to help us see through. Sharsheret is the Hebrew word for chain, and as the Jewish breast and ovarian cancer community, we aim to be the support, the link that helps women face the flood of information that comes with a cancer diagnosis. We speak to Jewish women and families facing cancer at every stage, before, during, and after diagnosis. We help them connect to our community in a way that feels most comfortable, taking into consideration their stage of life, diagnosis or treatment, as well as their connection to Judaism. We have a peer support network, which connects women one-on-one with others who share similar diagnosis or experience, a survivorship kit to provide individualized support, education, and survivorship navigation, and a family-focused program that provides resources to caregivers and family members. We have a clinical team, including trained social workers and a genetic counselor, who are available to answer questions and address concerns of women who reach out for support. Sharsheret distributes educational materials, offers specialized support to those facing ovarian cancer or at high risk for developing cancer, and creates resources for women and families to improve their quality of life. Sharsheret's also educating the next generation on high school and college campuses about genetics and the significant impact of hereditary breast cancer on Jewish families, so that cancers can be caught early when they are more effectively treated. So as we mark tonight with a pink Shabbat, I want to challenge everyone to take the messages of Noah with you. First, use the ribbons we see during October and the opportunity of a pink Shabbat like tonight as a reminder to learn more about your family health history. Second, remember that we can survive and thrive in the new normal, whether that's facing your own experience with cancer or supporting someone in your community who is finding their way. And finally, we aren't meant to go it alone. Let others know about the work Sharsheret does for Jewish women and families, or get involved as a community volunteer. And should you be faced with the turbulent flood of cancer, Sharsheret is here to be your partner in climbing on the ark to weather the storm and look out for the rainbow. Shabbat Shalom.
Thank you, Brianna, for not only sharing words of Torah with us, but for the sacred work that you and Sharsheret do. I'm going to put in an early announcement plug, and that is, it's not often that lots of people are here, particularly now. Whatever tzedakah goes into the tzedakah box tonight will go to Sharsheret, so this is a great time to lighten your Shabbat load and leave a little something in the tzedakah box. We are going to turn back to our Sidurim to page 586. We invite the congregation to please rise as the ark is open for a light.
עלינו לשבח לאדון הכל, לתת גדולה ליוצר בראשית, שלא עשנו כגויי הארצות, ולא שמנו כמשפחות האדמה, שלא שם חלקנו כהם, וגורלנו ככל עמונם. ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא, ונאמר והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ. ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד, ושמו אחד.
At this point, we remember those who have left us with the gift of memory: Dory Snyder, Alan Levy, Larry Katz, all who have died over the past 30 days, for whom we are observing Shloshim, and the yahrzeits of our congregant loved ones that we have commemorated this past week. Isaac Allen, Ann Appel, Yossi Ashkenazi, Patricia Barsky, Nettie Byrne, Howard Brenner, Lena Drucker, Edith Brotherson Ellis, Murray Goldberg, Elaine Gloria Goldberg, Leonard Hollander, Pauline Liebman, Marvin Pack, Irit Piknagura, Samuel Pollack, Emmanuel Sandberg, Rebecca Schulkes, Selma Silberstein, and those who are listed below who are remembered on our permanent memorial plaques here in the sanctuary. We invite the congregation to rise for Kaddish Yatom, Mourner's Kaddish. Yitgadal v'yitkadash Shemei Rabbah.
Amen.
Ve'alma divrach rute v'yamlich malchute. V'chayechon v'yomechon v'chaye dechol Beit Yisrael. Ba'agala u'vizman kariv imru.
Amen.
Yehi Shemei Rabbah mavarach le'alam u'lamei almaya. Yitbarach v'yishtavach v'yitpa'ar v'yitramam v'yitnaseh. V'yitadar v'yitaleh v'yithalal Shemei dekudashah. Le'elam min kol birchata v'shirata. Tushbechata v'nechemata. Damiran be'alma v'imru.
Amen.
Yehi Shlama Rabbah min Shemaya. V'chaim aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'imru.
Amen.
O says shalom b'mromav. V'yah says shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'imru. Amen. May the source of peace send peace to all who mourn, comfort to all who are bereaved. As together we say, Amen.
Amen.
May be seated. Once again, want to wish all of you a Shabbat Shalom. Say thank you to our service sponsors, to Joel and Adele Sandberg, who sponsored in memory of Emmanuel Sandberg, to Gail and Mark Slacko. It's nice to see you in the sanctuary, and thank you for sponsoring in memory of Isaac Allen and Louis Maltz. I want to say thank you to particularly want to say thank you to Judy and to Brianna for being our speakers, to sharing your gift of words and heart with us. And then finally, want to say thank you to Sisterhood for putting this on. And I'm looking forward to some pink treats after services. It's always good to do dessert before dinner. It comes straight from Moses on Mount Sinai, I assure you. We have a couple of announcements found in your program, but also on the board. For those of you who define yourselves as empty nesters, we're looking forward to welcoming you back on Friday, October 22nd, 5:30 p.m. Little oneg before services, a proneg before service, and then Shabbat services. And if you're coming either for that or just because you're coming to services, bring an item that's listed for our kosher food bank. It is certainly a help. And then we started last week. Barbara Silverman, they did okay, right? Last week, Rabbi David started a study program with students from FIU Hillel, and in combination with congregants, every Tuesday at 6 p.m. for the next, now I think 6 weeks. And you're welcome to come. You can register. It'd be great if you did register, please. But otherwise, you're welcome to come and just join us at 6 p.m. out on the Sisterhood patio. Nice, physically distant, and wonderful Torah.
Before,
yeah.
Can I have the camera on me?
Absolutely, you
Thank
can
you.
have the camera. Happy.
Thank you. Many of you know, last Sunday was a big day for me. No, I'm not seeking applause. I just want to say thank you, okay? Because many of I said that. I don't need, okay, thank you. It was a big day when the song that I wrote for this contest won the second prize. And again, this could not have been done with your help, because I know I needed your vote. And you did it, and you helped me to achieve something amazing. in my career as a composer. So thank you so much for your support. It was really appreciated by me and also by the other singers who participated in this song. I want to just say again, from the bottom of my heart, Toda Rabba.
Thank you. I forgot one other thing, and that is put in your calendar on November 18th. I know it's a long way away, but the 10th anniversary of Give Miami Day, wonderful opportunity through the Miami Foundation to make a donation and to have your donation added to because they have a matching, some sort of matching program. And so for your dollars, we get additional dollars. So if you're thinking about giving, particularly if you're thinking about giving towards the end of the fiscal year, this is a great thing to do. And you do it right through the Give Miami Day link. The money comes to us along with the addition. So we hope that you will join us on that day in particular. We are going to conclude with the singing of Kol Ha'olam Kulo, Gesher Tzar Ma'od. All the world is a narrow bridge, but the main thing to remember is not to be afraid. Page 643.
כל העולם כולו גשר צר מאוד, גשר צר מאוד, גשר צר מאוד. כל העולם כולו גשר צר מאוד, גשר צר מאוד. והעיקר, והעיקר, לא לפחד, לא לפחד כלל. והעיקר, והעיקר, לא לפחד כלל. יאי לי לי לי, יאי The entire world is a very narrow bridge, a very narrow bridge, a very narrow bridge. The entire world is a very narrow bridge, a very narrow bridge. And the main thing to recall is to have no fear at all. And the main thing to recall is to have no fear at all. Yai lai lai lai, yai lai lai lai, yai lai lai lai, yai la 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 lai 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 lai, yai lai 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 la la lai lai lai, yai lai, yai lai lai lai, yai lai lai, yai lai lai lai, yai la 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 lai 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 lai, yai lai lai lai, yai lai 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 lai.
We rise for Kiddush and Motzi.
ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם פורה פרי הגפן. ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם אשר קידשנו במצוותיו ורצה בנו בשבת קודשו באהבה וברצון הנחילנו זיכרון למעשה בראשית כי הוא יום תחילה למקראי קודש זכר ליציאה
atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, hamotzi lechem min haaretz. Shabbat shalom.